Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I am so excited to share with you my homemade hamburger buns. I have worked at perfecting this recipe for years and I finally have the technique and all the steps to help you guys make those picture perfect and absolutely delicious hamburger buns. These are good, obviously, for hamburgers or sandwiches or sloppy joes, whatever you want to put into a sandwich type of bun. These are the perfect buns for you. So let's get baking. In a small bowl, add 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 and 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, and 1/4 cup of water within the range above, depending on what type of yeast you're using. Whisk to make sure that all the yeast is wet and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes if you're using active dry yeast. Proofing is optional for quick, instant, or rapid rise yeast, so you can pour that mixture directly into the mixing bowl and start building your dough. To a mixing bowl, pour 1/2 cup of heated and slightly cooled milk. For the potatoes, I'm using 1/2 cup or 105 grams of leftover rice potatoes, but you can make potatoes just for these rolls. All you'll need to do is peel 1 small potato and cook it until fork tender, and then you can mash it with a fork or use a ricer. Give the mixture a stir and then pour in 1/4 cup of melted and cooled butter, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Stir this again, and then you'll add your proofed yeast mixture. Next, add 2 cups of flour to the mixing bowl and stir it with a dough hook. Add another 1/2 cup of flour and stir. You'll begin to knead on low speed with the mixer. You can also make this recipe kneading by hand, but I'm going to show just using my mixer today. Once the dough starts to come together, we'll add additional flour 1 tablespoon at a time until the dough forms a soft, slightly sticky ball. Be sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl periodically to make sure everything is evenly incorporated. You'll know you have enough flour when the dough no longer sticks to your finger when you press on it. So this one needs a little bit more flour. Once the dough is smooth and elastic, it's ready for its first rise. Lightly coat a mixing bowl with oil. Shape the dough into a ball by pulling the edges under to form a smooth top. Place the ball into the bowl, smooth side down, and turn it to coat. Make sure all the edges are tucked under, and then cover with plastic wrap or a clean towel and let this rise in a warm spot for 45 minutes to an hour or until it is doubled in size. While the dough rises, we'll prepare a baking setup. I'm using wide mouth canning rings to shape my buns. They're the perfect size for a burger and they help to keep the bun nice and tall. To prevent sticking, I brush the rings with my homemade bread release, which is equal parts avocado oil, butter, and flour, and I also brush the pan where the rings will sit. This step makes sure that everything releases easily after baking. Here's a view of my risen dough, and you can see that it overrose slightly. As you can tell, it's very puffy and it deflates slightly when I poke it gently. If your dough rises too long, don't worry, it still works great for these hamburger buns. Now you'll weigh your dough and divide it into 12 equal pieces. For buns that fit the canning rings perfectly, I aim for pieces that weigh around 65 to 70 grams for each dough ball. Roll each piece into a ball by pinching the edges under to form a smooth top, and then place your hand in a C shape around the ball. You'll rotate the ball of dough on the counter, dragging it slightly to smooth it out even more. Flatten the ball firmly with your palm to create that classic hamburger-shaped bun and place it inside one of the prepared rings. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit while the buns rise, which only takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Brush the tops of the risen buns with an egg wash of 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. Sprinkle the wet tops with sesame seeds if you'd like that classic hamburger bun look. Bake the hamburger buns for 12 to 14 minutes, turning the pan halfway through to ensure that they brown evenly. When the buns are golden brown, remove them from the oven and let them cool slightly before removing them from the canning rings. If any of the buns stick to the rings, just gently run a dull knife or an offset spatula around the edges to release them. Let the buns cool completely before you slice them. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you try these, I would so love to hear what you think of them. I just think they're the perfect hamburger buns, and I hope you love them as much as we do. If you do try them or have any questions, please just leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate you watching and your great comments that I get from you. Thank you guys. Until next time, happy baking.